It has been 36 years, and here is the heartbreaking reality as of 2026. We have just said our final goodbyes to the legendary Patricia Routledge, our beloved Hyacinth, at the age of 96. Richard, Onslow, and both Roses had already left us. Yet, in a shocking twist, the oldest cast member from back then, the Major, is still defying the odds at 97. So who is still with us? Let's pay tribute to the cast right now. Patricia Routledge, born in 1929, is the comedic genius behind Hyacinth Bucket, the lady who famously insisted her name was pronounced Bouquet. At 61 years old, she created a snob so iconic that she is still quoted decades later. However, Patricia is actually a trained singer with a Tony Award for musical theater, proving she has far more talent than her tone-deaf character. In 2026, at an incredible 96 years old, she is a dame of the British Empire and living a quiet, respected life. She famously turned down a lucrative spin-off series to keep the legacy intact. She remains the ultimate definition of class, showing us that true dignity does not need to be shouted. Clive Swift, born in 1936, played the long-suffering husband, Richard Bucket. At 54 years old, he mastered the art of the weary eye roll, representing every spouse who just wants a quiet life. While Richard was passive, Clive was a highly respected classical actor with the Royal Shakespeare Company and a talented songwriter. He notoriously struggled with the sitcom fame, sometimes appearing prickly in interviews because he felt his serious acting career was overshadowed by Hyacinth's husband. Clive passed away on February 1st, 2019, at the age of 82. He left behind a legacy of patience, teaching the world that sometimes the greatest act of love is simply tolerating your partner's chaotic ambition without complaining. Josephine Tewson, born in 1931, played the jittery, next-door neighbor Elizabeth Warden. At 59 years old, she turned trembling into a fine art form, constantly living in fear of breaking Hyacinth's precious Royal Doulton china with the hand-painted periwinkles. Her nervous energy provided the perfect contrast to Patricia's domineering presence, making them a legendary comedy duo. Josephine was actually a comedy veteran who starred alongside giants like Ronnie Barker and continued touring one-woman shows well into her 80s. Sadly, she passed away on August 18, 2022, at the age of 91. She will forever be remembered as the sweet, anxious face of friendly neighbors everywhere who just want a biscuit and a cup of coffee without getting yelled at. Geoffrey Hughes, born in 1944, played the lovable slob Onslow. At 46 years old, he became a cultural icon just by sitting in an armchair drinking beer and watching racing on television in a dirty vest. While Onslow was lazy, Geoffrey was incredibly active in real life, often sailing and playing cricket. He found immense fame in other huge hits like Coronation Street and The Royal Family, proving his versatility as a character actor. Tragically, he passed away from prostate cancer on July 27, 2012, at the age of 68. He remains the patron saint of relaxation, teaching us that sometimes the best way to handle the stresses of life is to simply say, "Oh, nice." Judy Cornwell, born in 1940, played the romantic dreamer Daisy, who was always trying to get Onslow's attention. At 50 years old, she was the warm and messy antithesis to Hyacinth's cold perfection. In 2026, at 85 years old, Judy is still with us and looks remarkably elegant. She is actually a successful author who wrote about her fascinating childhood growing up in Australia and later played Mrs. Claus in the cult classic Santa Claus, the movie. Unlike poor Daisy, who never got enough affection, Judy is adored by fans worldwide for bringing such heart and warmth to the chaotic, lower-class family. Mary Miller, born in 1936, played the man-eating Sister Rose from season 2 onwards. At 54 years old, she brought a glamorous energy to the role, constantly chasing rich men and embarrassing Hyacinth. Before the sitcom, she was a West End legend, originating the role of Madame Giry in The Phantom of the Opera. Her life was cut short tragically when she passed away from throat cancer on November 10, 1998, at the age of 62, only a few years after the show ended. She was the first of the main cast to leave us, but her vibrant spirit and comedic timing made her the definitive Rose in the eyes of many fans. Shirley Stelfox, born in 1941, was the original Rose, appearing only in the very first season of the show. At 49 years old, she perfectly established the character's flirtatious and chaotic nature, wearing short skirts and chasing after the vicar. She actually left the series due to scheduling conflicts, but she went on to find massive fame as the sharp-tongued moral pillar Edna Birch in the long-running soap opera Emmerdale, where she stayed for 15 years. Tragically, Shirley passed away from terminal cancer on December 7, 2015, at the age of 74. Although her time as Rose was brief, she set the blueprint for the character, proving that even a short performance can leave a lasting legacy. George Webb, born in 1912, played the senile and chaotic daddy who was the constant source of Hyacinth's embarrassment. At 78 years old, he was the oldest cast member and rarely spoke a single word. Yet his physical comedy was hilarious as he constantly ran off to chase women or relive the war in his pajamas. Before acting, he served as a lieutenant colonel in the British Army, bringing real-life experience to his military delusions. George passed away from natural causes on December 30th, 1998, at the age of 86, just weeks after his on-screen daughter, Mary Miller. He leaves behind a masterclass in silent comedy, showing that you do not need lines to steal the scene. David Griffin, born in 1943, played Elizabeth's brother, the divorced musician Emmett Hawksworth. At 47 years old, he lived in perpetual terror of Hyacinth singing at him, and his fearful reactions became comedy gold for the series. He effectively represented the audience's cringe every time Hyacinth mentioned her candlelight suppers. In 2026, at 82 years old, David is still with us and living a quiet life away from the spotlight. Before the sitcom, he was a serious actor appearing in Doctor Who and Allo Allo. While he maintains a low profile today, fans still cherish him as the man who represented the collective horror of being forced to listen to bad karaoke, proving that fear can be the funniest emotion of all. Jeremy Gittins, born in 1956, played Michael the handsome young vicar, who was the constant object of Hyacinth's aggressive hospitality. At 34 years old, he mastered the art of polite panic, constantly trying to escape her tea invitations without being rude to a parishioner. His character was the ultimate straight man to her absurdity, providing a necessary grounding presence amidst the suburban chaos. In 2026, at 69 years old, Jeremy is still active and alive. Over the years, he has appeared in other British classics like Doctor Who and EastEnders. He remains a favorite at fan conventions where people still jokingly warn him to watch out for buckets, which is a testament to how memorable his terrified politeness was to audiences. Marion Barron, born in 1958, played the vicar's unnamed wife, who was frequently jealous of Hyacinth Bucket. At 32 years old, she brought a hilarious, frantic energy to the screen, often jumping to the wrong conclusions about her husband and the bucket woman. Her expressive face and quick temper provided a sharp contrast to Jeremy Gitten's calm demeanor, creating a dynamic marital duo. In 2026, at 67 years old, Marion is still with us. While her acting credits have been sporadic since the 90s, she remains a cherished part of the ensemble. Fans remember her as the voice of reason, who saw Hyacinth not as a pillar of the community, but as the menace she truly was, proving that sometimes jealousy is actually just intuition. Peter Sellier, born in 1928, played the Major, the only character who actually wanted to spend time with Hyacinth, though purely because he was chasing her. At 62 years old, he played the lecherous upper-class gentleman, perfectly acting as a mirror to Hyacinth's social climbing desires. Ironically, Hyacinth was terrified of his advances despite him being the aristocrat she always wanted to know. In 2026, at an astounding 97 years old, Peter is one of the oldest living actors from the series. He had a distinguished career with the National Theatre and appeared in Doctor Who. He stands as a testament to longevity, proving that perhaps a little bit of madness and a lot of chasing ladies keeps you young forever. Anna Dawson, born in 1937, played Violet, the sister Hyacinth bragged about the most. At 53 years old, she was the wealthy sibling with the swimming pool, the sauna, and room for a pony, yet she was perpetually miserable due to her husband Bruce. Anna took over the role in season 5, adding a layer of high-class hysteria to the show. In 2026, at 88 years old, she is still with us. Before this iconic role, she was a regular on The Benny Hill Show, showcasing her knack for physical comedy. She remains the face of the saying that money cannot buy happiness, especially when your husband has a habit of cross-dressing. Charmian May, born in 1937, played the formidable Mrs. Counselor Nugent. At 53 years old, she was perhaps the only person in the entire series who truly intimidated Hyacinth Bucket. With her severe haircut and dour expression, she stripped Hyacinth of all her pretenses, making the snob desperate for her approval. Charmian was a brilliant character actress who also appeared in Bridget Jones' Diary. Sadly, she passed away from cancer on October 24, 2002, at the age of 65, shortly after the series era ended. She left an indelible mark as the ultimate authority figure, proving that even the most confident social climber can be reduced to a nervous wreck by a stern look from a government official. David Janssen, born in 1950, played the poor postman who developed complex military stealth tactics just to deliver a letter to the Bucket residents without getting caught. At 40 years old, his terrified creeping along the garden hedge became a visual gag that perfectly defined the neighborhood fear. He is also famous for playing Herr Flick in the sitcom Allo Allo, showcasing his incredible comedy range. In 2026, at 75 years old, David is still with us. He remains a beloved figure at comedy conventions where fans sympathize with his on-screen trauma, proving that delivering mail can be the most dangerous job in the world if you have the wrong customer. Robert Rawls, born in 1957, played the milkman, another frequent victim of Hyacinth's aggressive neighborliness. At 33 years old, he represented the daily struggle of the working man trying to do his job while avoiding a lecture on bottle cleanliness or etiquette. While his screen time was often brief, his interactions were vital in establishing the community-wide dread of the Bucket Lady. In 2026, at 68 years old, Robert is still alive and active in the industry, often working in voiceovers and theater. He stands as a tribute to all the service workers who have to smile and nod at difficult customers just to get through the morning round in one piece. Gerald Sim, born in 1925, played the rector, the exasperated superior to Michael the vicar. At 65 years old, he brought a distinguished air of religious authority that instantly crumbled whenever Hyacinth entered the room. He was a highly respected character actor appearing in major films like Gandhi and Patriot Games, and was famously the brother-in-law of director Richard Attenborough. Gerald passed away from natural causes on December 11, 2014, at the age of 89. He had a long and fruitful career, leaving behind a legacy of understated British elegance and proving that even men of God struggle to find patience when dealing with the lady of the house. Trevor Bannister, born in 1934, appeared as Mr. Merriweather, the electrical salesman. At 56 years old, he brought his legendary comedic timing to the show. He was already a household name in Britain for playing the cheeky junior salesman, Mr. Lucas, in the iconic sitcom, Are You Being Served? In this role, he once again displayed the charm that made him a national favorite. Tragically, Trevor passed away from a heart attack on April 14, 2011, at the age of 76, while working on his garden allotment. He was a staple of British television for decades, and his ability to play the everyman caught in absurd situations makes him a true icon of the golden age of sitcoms. Terrence Hardiman, born in 1937, appeared as a memorable guest star during the second series. At 53 years old, he had a commanding presence that often unsettled the frantic energy of Hyacinth Bucket. While his role here was relatively brief, he is best known for terrifying an entire generation of British children as the titular villain in the children's series, The Demon Headmaster. Terrence passed away from natural causes on May 8, 2023, at the age of 86. He was a true gentleman in real life, known for his kindness and extensive stage work with the Royal Shakespeare Company, proving that sometimes the actors who play the scariest characters possess the gentlest souls off-camera. Ivor Danvers, born in 1932, played the crucial role of Richard's boss who finally forced him into early retirement. At 58 years old, he delivered the news that set the plot in motion for Richard to spend every waking moment with Hyacinth. Ivor was not just a sitcom actor, but a celebrated performer in West End musicals, famously playing the villainous Chauvelin in The Scarlet Pimpernel. He passed away on March 13, 2020, at the age of 87. His contribution to the series was pivotal because without his character forcing Richard out of the office, we would never have seen the full extent of Richard's domestic suffering under Hyacinth's constant and overwhelming supervision. Bruce Montague, born in 1939, played the role of His Excellency the Ambassador, whom Hyacinth was desperate to impress. At 51 years old, he was already a sitcom favorite, known for playing the rich neighbor in the hit comedy Butterflies. In keeping up appearances, he provided the ultimate social prize for Hyacinth, even though he found her exhausting. Bruce remained active in the industry for years, appearing in the audio drama of Doctor Who alongside Sylvester McCoy. Sadly, he passed away from cancer on August 16, 2022, at the age of 83. He will always be remembered as the charming gentleman whose sophisticated accent made him the perfect target for Hyacinth's relentless social climbing ambitions. Una Stubbs, born in 1937, appeared as Mrs. Moody in a memorable guest role. At 53 years old, she was a bona fide television legend, having starred as the daughter in Till Death Us Do Part. However, modern audiences know and adore her best as the sweet yet sassy Mrs. Hudson in the BBC global phenomenon Sherlock alongside Benedict Cumberbatch. Una was a dancer and actress of immense charm who worked right up until the end of her life. She passed away following an illness on August 12, 2021, at the age of 84. Her career bridged generations of comedy, making her one of the most beloved faces in the history of British entertainment. Time may change faces, but memories remain. Thank you for revisiting the journey of the Keeping Up Appearances cast. If this story moved you, like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to continue exploring more classic TV legends and their stories.